I put together a list for the top 3 calisthenics exercises for every muscle in your upper body. Is doing regular push-ups a waste of time? Should I use isolation in calisthenics? These with numerous other questions will be answered in today's video. So if you're ready, let's get into it. The first muscle that we're going to be covering is the shoulders. So the shoulders is, in my opinion, one of the hardest muscles to train in calisthenics. We're going to have to do upside down work. So it requires a lot of handstand work. It requires a lot of pike push-ups. It requires a lot of exercises that are just very uncomfortable for us to do. But I have 3 exercises written down here that I think you should implement into your shoulder training in order to grow them. So the first one is going to be elevated pike push-ups. I've talked about the elevated pike push-up on this channel for so long now. I haven't even been doing this for that long, but I've spoke about it a lot of times. The elevated pike push-up is, in my opinion, the best upside down push-up in order to grow your shoulders. I've been doing this exercise for the past 3 months, and before that, my shoulders looked way more flat and way less full, and I've been doing this exercise consistently twice a week. Basically just going to failure for about 2 to 3 sets every single time, and a maximum of 5 sets, and my shoulders have immediately grown and got more rounder, even a little bit with some trap activation in there as well, because when you're doing upside down work, your traps are also going to be working. And as most of you know, if you don't know, your traps are very lagging in calisthenics movements always, because we don't really do a lot of shrugs. We don't really do a lot of things that focus on the traps that makes us grow big traps, right? So when we do upside down work, such as elevated pike push-ups, we finally get that trap activation in there, which adds more fullness to your shoulders. So how would you go about and actually getting started with the elevated pike push-up and also progressing with it? So number 1, you gotta, instead of first getting right into the elevated pike push-up, get into the normal pike push-up and start doing about 2 to 3 sets of a rep range that you're actually comfortable with, that you can do for 3 sets. Listen, if you can do 1 set of, let's say, 10 pike push-ups, but then the second and the third set, you're gonna only be able to do 5 or 8, you shouldn't be doing 10 for the first set. What you should be doing is stick to about 6 reps for 3 sets straight, so that you can do 3 sets of the same amount of numbers every single time and stay consistent with that. Write it down. Next week, you're gonna come back and then you're gonna be doing, let's say, 7, or you're gonna be adding another set. My advice would be is adding another rep and stick to the 3-set pyramid and just basically do that until you can do about 3 sets of 10, and then you can maybe move on to the elevated pike push-up and do about 2 sets of 5 and just restart the progress cycle right there. So listen, it is, in my opinion, an S tier exercise. This is not a tier list video, but it's an S tier type of exercise, and I do absolutely love it. If you want to get big shoulders, do this exercise consistently. Start this week. Exercise number 2 is going to be the handstand negative. So the handstand negative is an exercise that is very tough to do because you, of course, first need to be able to do a handstand. Now, if you can't do a handstand, there's an alternative for it. Just simply do the handstand against the wall. Now listen, when you're doing the handstand against the wall push-ups, what you got to make sure is that your belly is actually facing the wall instead of your back facing the wall. Because when your back is facing the wall, most of the time what's going to happen is that your back is going to be arching way too much, and you're going to have, first of all, back issues, and you're not really going to be making it a effective shoulder exercise. So what you want to do is face your belly against the wall, do push-ups that way, and you want to do a negative diagonally and then go up diagonal as well. So that is the exercise that I want you to do. Listen, this exercise requires you to only get 3 to 4 reps in per set. So basically do a handstand negative for 3 to 5 seconds negative, rest for a little bit, do it again, do that for about 3 to 4 reps, and that should be your set. It doesn't mean that this exercise should be done for a lot of sets. This exercise is basically your main warm-up compound movement that you should do before you hit all your big pike movements and pike push-ups. Then we have exercise number 3, and that's going to be the ring upright row. So the ring upright row is kind of, in my opinion, it feels exactly like the lateral raise or the upright row with weights. But the better thing is that the range of motion is limited. There is no bar in between your face. So you're literally just going to be pulling up as far as you can and do this exercise correctly that way. Listen, if you want to do this exercise, I highly recommend you do this after you have, for example, done all your big presses, instead of doing this for a lot of sets. I do not think it's effective to do these type of isolation exercises for a lot of sets. When you do your big presses, you can do that for a lot of sets, get some strength volume in, get some low volume in, get some high volume in. But when you're doing isolation, you're not supposed to be doing no fucking 10 sets of isolation movements, right? Of course you can. Let's say your delts are lagging or whatever, and this is the only hope you got. Go ahead and fucking do it. I don't care. You're probably gonna make results from it. But what I would recommend is simply just focusing on the pike push-up, the handstand negative, and then finishing off with the ring upright row. So let's get into the next muscle. The next muscle is gonna be chest. So first off, we have the weighted ring push-up. Now listen, man, you like to do your little bench press, you like to do your little incline press, you like to do your little flies. Nothing is beating the ring weighted push-up. Listen, as a beginner, I understand you cannot probably do weighted ring push-ups yet. You maybe can't even do normal ring push-ups yet. But when you start doing the normal push-ups and you start progressing towards ring push-ups, and then eventually adding weight upon yourself and doing ring weighted push-ups, I absolutely believe that you're going to see the fastest growth that you have ever seen in your chest ever in your whole training journey. If you have not purchased your rings yet, because you absolutely do need to, because this is the tool that you're going to use to build the most muscle in your whole career, go and get them today. The link is in the description right now. You can just grab them right now on the Gore Nation website with the code BARS10. I'll even provide you with an extra 10% off. Type in code BARS10, get your rings today, and just start focusing on what matters, and that is the rings, because this is the tool that is going to make you real gains. You're not leaving any gains on the table when you do this consistently. Then we have exercise number 2, and that is also again with the rings. We're going to be doing weighted ring dips. Now, why do I think for chest the weighted ring dip is a little bit more effective than the normal dip? When it comes to the rings, you move freely. With normal bars, the bars are fixed. The bars are fixed to the ground. You cannot bring them in, you cannot bring them out. With rings, you can bring them out and also bring them in. What I would recommend is you have RTO dips, which is basically ring turned outwards, which are great. You don't even have to do that. Everybody is always saying that you have to supinate. I understand, like for some gymnasts and whatever, you could do that. But if you're doing dips and you're literally just squeezing, pronated, squeezing the rings towards each other so that you have a very, very deep squeeze in your chest at that top position, and the moment when you go down, you want to widen up your rings to get a deeper stretch. That is literally a chest fly. That is basically literally a lower chest fly, but you're doing it in a dip manner, which is arguably more effective. Greatest exercise when it comes to dips is this one. Go ahead and stay consistent on it. Then we have exercise number 3 for the chest, and that is going to be the decline diamond push-up. Now, in my opinion, the decline diamond push-up is one of the greatest upper chest exercises. Why is that? I have been doing decline diamonds for a long time, and the purpose of decline diamonds is to basically get a lot of squeeze out of your upper chest. We have just focused on big stretch exercises with the ring dip and the ring push-up. Now we're going to squeeze the fuck out of our chest by just doing decline diamond push-up. The decline is going to provide you with the upper chest tension, right? But when you also bring your hands close, now you can get a pretty good stretch at the bottom. It's not too great, but we already got the stretch covered in the previous exercises. But the moment when you go up, you can really squeeze everything out of your chest that you need, bro. And listen, the decline is of course for the upper chest. So a little tip that I can give you, when you make your back hollow and you squeeze, not only squeeze, but you make your back hollow even more, now your chest is even going to be squeezing to a greater extent. So this exercise, after you have done, let's say in a ladder type of style, after you have done all your big compounds for, let's say 20 down to 1, will fry your upper chest like no other exercise. Let's get into the next muscle. Right now we're going to be having biceps. So to build big biceps is pretty easily done in calisthenics. The only thing is you have to primarily focus on the bicep if you really want to blow it up, right? So listen, my top 3 exercises goes as follows. We have the weighted chin-ups, the pelican curls, and the ring bicep curls. Now let's start at the isolation exercises, the pelican curls and the ring bicep curls, because I think that these 2 exercises should always be supersetted. Why is that? First of all, you save time. Done. Second off, the pelican curl is a stretched base exercise. So the moment when you actually go down, your biceps are being stretched into a great position, making your biceps really strain hard. And the top position, there's not really a lot of squeeze. That's why with this exercise, you don't have to go all the way up. You just have to go all the way down until you're fully stretched, and then go to half point and then go down again. That is enough for this exercise. Then when you're burnt out on that one, when you went to failure on the pelican curl, you're going to turn around and you're going to lay on your back and you're going to be doing the curls to your head, which basically mimics spider curls in the gym. You're going to be doing these to failure because this one, the stretch is not really prominent, but the squeeze is absolutely insane. Combine these 2 exercises and you will have the greatest bicep pump in your life. And I can actually, I'm a testimony for it, bro. I've done this a handful of times and I've never gotten more painful bicep pumps from those 2 exercises compared to anything else. Then we have the weighted chin up, which I think should be performed before this exercise. I'm giving you a fucking free workout here, bro. The weighted chin up is, in my opinion, the greatest compound bicep exercise out there to grow your biceps. Listen, when you're doing a pull day, you should always include the weighted chin up into your routine. The weighted chin up provides you with a very natural pattern in order to grow your biceps and in order to stretch your biceps and squeeze your biceps and also overload them very, very easily. The only thing you have to do is add a rep of a chin up every single set or so, every single week with a set, or you can add a little bit of weight upon yourself and just do the same amount of reps with that extra weight and overload your biceps that way. That is the only thing that I want you to do, is take easy steps. And that is basically what your bicep or pull day should look like. Weighted pull-ups, weighted chin-ups, and then getting into that bicep superset that I just explained to you. Let's go into triceps now. With triceps, first off, we have the weighted dips. The weighted dips is of course a primarily chest focused exercise, but when we do them consistently, they're still gonna grow our triceps. It is a compound movement, so don't be worrying about, oh, it's chest, so it's not gonna grow my triceps. No, it's still going to be growing your triceps. But I also got a bunch of exercises on here that you should do after you have done your weight weighted dips to grow your triceps even fuller. So your weighted dip should always be your primary concern when it comes to growing your upper body muscles, right? Especially the push. So when you're doing the weighted dips consistently, you should at least do them twice a week with a rep range of about 8 to 10. That is, in my opinion, let's say you're purely trying to focus on hypertrophy and growing the triceps and chest and shoulders or whatever, 8 to 10 is, in my opinion, perfect. And I'm talking about like maybe 10 to 15 sets a week of 10 reps dips, heavy weighted, actually going to failure and really working your muscles. You will grow your triceps and you will also feel your triceps heavy. Then we have the second exercise, and that's going to be tricep push-ups. This is an exercise that should be done after you have already done your big compound push exercises for your triceps and your chest. The tricep push-up is basically a push-up variation, but keeping your elbows very tucked in and pulling them backwards, basically creating this tricep push down. This is basically the equivalent to a body weight tricep push down. That is exactly what it is. It's literally a tricep push down. When you're doing them on regular parallettes or on a bench or whatever you want to do them on, it really mimics that exercise, and the stretch on the bottom is absolutely perfect, and the squeeze on top is also fucking perfect. This exercise should be into your routine at all times for about 2 to 3 sets. Then we have the diamond push-up. Now, I don't know which study it was, but there's some studies out there that have shown that the diamond push-up, and this is over any exercise, has one of the highest tricep activation when it comes to body weight movements and also weightlifting movements. So should these exercises be a part of your training routine? Absolutely. Are you fucking dumb? Like, this exercise should be done. Again, let's say you can switch this exercise up with a more hypertrophy type of style where you're doing them very slow and also more towards your forehead and extending back up and squeezing the triceps like that so that you get less chest activation. Or you could do them in a way where I just explained it to you, where you can do a ladder type style with it, where you, let's say, do 20 down to 1 at the end of your push session. Then we have the last muscle, and it's going to be back. So for back, we have, of course, number one, the best exercise out there, the weighted pull-up. I've been doing weighted pull-ups right now for about 4 years, maybe even longer, and it is arguably the reason why I have my physique today, and even why I have a little bit of my bicep gains today. The weighted pull-up is an exercise that even if you do them not really correct, you're still gonna grow with it because you're quite literally pulling up your entire body while till your chin is over the bar, which is literally perfect. Now, yes, you can modify this exercise to make it more hypertrophy focused by arching your back and doing all that shit. But what I would recommend is just sticking to the normal pull-up, pulling all the way up until your chin is over the bar and progressively overloading with adding weight upon yourself week upon week, and then also adding reps and adding sets. Second exercise is going to be Australian ring rows. The reason why I love this exercise is because first off, it is a horizontal pull, and everybody likes to skip horizontal pulls, right? Most of us, that we only do our vertical pulls, we only do our pull-ups, our chin-ups, our close grip pull-ups, our pull-up variations, but we don't really do our horizontal pull-ups. We don't really do our squeeze-based exercise, and this exercise is perfect for that. The reason why I like to do them with rings is because they provide you with a deeper stretch. You can literally pull the rings towards each other while you're going down and let your back literally fold over your rib cage, and then when you're gonna pull back up, you want to literally squeeze the both sides of your back until they touch each other. That is what you want to do, and that is, in my opinion, the greatest squeeze that you're going to get in calisthenics when it comes to your back. So yes, that exercise should be a part of your training at all costs, and you should do it after you have done your very heavy vertical pulls, and do it for about 3-4 sets maximum. Then we have another vertical pull, and this is the last exercise for today, and it's going to be the wide pull-up. Now, the wide pull-up provides you with a great stretch, and that is the reason why I put it in here, is because when you provide your back with a great stretch, it always responds. Listen, man, when I started focusing a little bit more on the hypertrophy side of things and started learning more about that, I started focusing on the wide pull-up with rings and with just the normal bar. I do think that when you're going a little bit wider, for some people this doesn't even make sense, but when you're going a little bit wider, especially if you have long limbs, and you go wide and you literally let your head fully hang and just try to really like pull your lats outwards apart, you will start to notice everything just literally tearing up in your back. And the moment where you pull up, you release all that stretch tension and you tense it inwards like that. You will get the greatest back pump of your life by doing that, especially from that stretch position. So those were the top 3 calisthenics exercises for every muscle in the upper body. Very simple, very easy. If you want to include every single one of these exercises into a full 12-week training routine, go to the top link in my description and check out the Bodyweight Bodybuilder programs. They are online right now. Go ahead and get them. Everybody is already working. I don't even know what the fuck you're doing here yet, but okay, go ahead and get it, and I'll see your progress very, very soon. And as always, make the sacrifice and stay resilient.